Well, we want to thank everybody for showing up. This is kind of a test pilot of a program that we was going to start back in 2020, and then a crap show happened and things got worse. There's been quite a few things that I had planned for the show, that technology-wise, and some people just didn't see it because my mind sees the stuff, but it doesn't always communicate through my mouth. And so when they see it, I've had a couple people say, "Oh, I know how to make this better for the next one," after I see what you're actually doing. I thought I explained it, but my co-host wasn't there to make it sound better, so it's his fault. That's
Well, it's
why
going
I
to
had
get
to-
better each time, so. We're
So
working on
I
it.
want to give a transparency also for anybody that's never been on stage before. After these lights are on, we can't see if there's 5 of you out there or 500. So if we don't hear you, we're just going to assume either you're sleeping or you're not. And I won't
Hey,
blame you.
Mary.
Oh, there's, we got one, all right.
Hi, Archie.
All right, so next up, our next guy, Archie, even though you forgot to mention him at the front of it,
I sure did.
you know, in life's careers, you want to have diversity in your paycheck. This guy, he's got his hands in the two things that go hand in hand.
And
Newspaper and coffee.
those go together.
Yeah, let's welcome Jake Watson.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Archie, come on.
You want a handheld or you want to wear this?
No, I'll just.
I say wear this, he's got to wear it. Yep.
All right, there we go. Archie, come sit next to your favorite playwright.
All right, yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thanks for having me, Barry.
Yeah. So I don't know if you put in the paper yet or not, or online, that there's only 252 days for Christmas.
I've not, but you know what? There's only like 199 until Halloween.
Yeah, well, it's 239 until we have a Christmas show here.
Oh, all right.
That's the next week.
What are you doing to do a Halloween show?
I don't know, during Halloween, I'm out front with them 12 to 1,500 people out there in the street when we close it down for Halloween Spectacular.
Sounds like a job for Archie then.
Yes.
That's I'll be out. Yeah.
He'll be in his bunker. So, what got you into the coffee and what got you into the newspaper? You want to put them together or separate?
Yeah, however you want to do. I mean, a lot of people put them together in the morning. They'll sit down with their newspaper and drink their coffee, and hopefully it's red flannel coffee that they're drinking. Yeah, so the coffee that started out of the other thing that I do, my nonprofit, which is the School Emergency Response Coalition. We donate AEDs to public schools, and we teach CPR. And speaking of the pandemic that you mentioned earlier, that kind of hit us hard as far as kind of slowed us down a bit, and so the coffee was kind of born out of that. It was born out of a necessity to come up with supplemental funding, if you will, to keep doing what we were doing. So we got that going, and officially in 2023, we had kind of piloted it for a couple of years before actually kind of launching it. And now we're online at redflannelcoffeeco.com, and you can go to the Cedar chest and pick some up locally there. Yeah, so that's kind of how that started.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that coffee is not meant for every day, just the ones that start with T or end in Y. So there's today, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Right.
And then if that's not enough, we go with the ones that end in Y.
There you go. Firm believer in that as well.
So, how about the newspaper? What got you into that? Have you always been a historian type, wanting to journalize? What?
Yeah, well, yeah, I went to school on a writing scholarship. So I've always been interested in writing, but I didn't have any plans to start a newspaper or take one over. It was actually with the coffee. I was out on Red Flannel Day. Tom Noreen owned the Bugle at the time, and he stopped by our vendor booth on Red Flannel Day and wanted to do an article on it. He heard there was new coffee in town and thought he'd publicize it for me. And so we got talking for a while, and I asked him, I said, hey, if you ever want, a free contributor, just to, I go to the city council meetings already, so I can, do cover some local news for you. And he said, yeah, that'd be great, but I'm retiring, I'm shutting it down. And I was like, all right, well, that puts a damper on things, but what's funny with the Bugle is that it started because the Clipper closed. In 1984, that's when the Neil Sanderson started the Bugle. And then after the Post ran from, about 88 until 2022, it was the only one left. The Bugle was the only one left, and so I spoke to Tom, and after we had a 10 a.m. beer at the brewery to go over business, we transacted the swap there, and I took it over from him to just keep local news live.
You mentioned Neil Sanderson. I think that's interesting because last year the second year we did our celebration of lights where we honored people that have gotten Cedar Springs where it's at. His name was one of the ones that was nominated, and you spoke on that. And so it's good to keep certain traditions going. There's a lot of people that they don't know how to vocalize right. You know, they see social media as today's force of, you know, and people say, well, paper it's a dying art. We don't really need, well, my oldest brother back there, Chancey, he taught me back when I was like kindergarten, first grade, words are important. I mean, and, you know, he's in junior high, so when you're in kindergarten, first grade, you're thinking, he's smart, you know. He's got to be smart because he's older than me. So we'd always come up, and in my mind, I could have swore, can I use your tire pump? No, you can't lose my tire pump. I said use. No, you said lose. So one of my cousins was like, well, yeah, can we lose? I'm like, no, he said use. You know, and then finally he said no, and like the next day he'd come back and ask him, can we use, you know, making sure you're emphasizing you use the right word. No, because Barney broke it.
Yeah. No, that's a great story. No, you're right. You know, words do matter, and information matters. You know, social media is where, you know, information is spread, whether it's true or not, and where rumors spread, whether those are true or not. But yeah, you know, with the closure of the Post, they did such a great job. Lois Allen and Judy Reed, they did such a great job of kind of weaving together the tapestry of our town, and there was something, you know, human about that you don't get with social media. You know, social media has social in it, but it's very much kind of the opposite way. It's very disconnecting, and it's very disconnected from reality at times. So having kind of an authoritative source, somebody that actually goes to the things and speaks to people and you know, puts the facts down and shares the information is always going to be needed. But what I you know, you mentioned history as well. What I found really interesting when I took over the Bugle, there was no online presence for us. There was a small group of subscribers who had it mailed to them, and it was just paper format. When I took it over, my original intention was to scrap that, to be done with the print version and go fully online like a lot of news agencies have, you know, including with the Grand Rapids Press. I took them over, it's all online now, for the most part at least. But what I found was once it got online, the paper, the print version actually started taking off even quicker. And so now we're right around 1,000 subscribers. I've got about 400. It was just under 200. It's around 400 paper subscribers and around 600 people online. So it's growing every day. So it's really encouraging. But it's really interesting to see that there's still that desire for a you know, newspaper to hold on to in the morning.
Well, and that's where a couple years ago I started doing the Cedar Springs Happening. It's a pamphlet. The only thing it is just about events.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of advertising because I ain't got time to do journalism. And anybody that's ever seen my writing that I've never asked, hey, Tia, proofread this. Because I don't use ChatGPT or these other things. And so, yeah, there's a lot of technical errors. And it just, and so I like to, you know, like I said, when you get a lot of stuff in your head, it doesn't always come out your mouth. The same way as when you type it in here and then you read it, you say, yep, that's what I wanted to say. Well, then you see it on print and say, no, that's not what I wanted to say.
Right, yeah. So, yeah. Well, luckily for me, I've got a great editor. she's my grandma. She's 88. She actually ran a paper here in town for about a year, her own back in, oh man, it was probably the early 90s. But so there's always been kind of that influence. But yeah, luckily for me, I've got my grandma to read over, and so I'll always print the first run and give it to her and let her circle where I messed up several times, and
Yeah.
I'll go back and correct it, and we'll go over it a couple more times before putting it out there to the public.
It's easy when you try to proofread your own stuff. You're reading it in your mind, you already know what it says. Yep, it all looks good.
Oh yeah, you skim it.
Yeah.
You skim it. Then you miss everything.
The fastest way
Then
to
you get
find,
letters in the mail.
fastest way to find a mistake is hand it to somebody else and let them do it, and then when you bring it back, oh, you did this wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my grandma doesn't hold back either, so
Yeah.
very honest.
So Art, you got anything you want to ask him? Coffee.
I love the smell of coffee.
You and me too.
Yep, I can inhale, I just can't drink it.
Oh, you can?
I'm allergic to the coffee bean.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
You
Me
could be
too.
president.
But I do like I have a whole bunch of beans on my counter in a container, and
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
shake them up, and nothing
the
gets you
aroma.
going. The aroma of coffee in the morning or anytime.
Certainly.
It's awesome.
It is. I agree.
But good coffee makes a difference, though.
Yeah, okay.
Good coffee makes a big difference.
Your coffee, does it come locally, or where you get your coffee?
No, coffee doesn't grow well in Michigan.
No.
So we get it from Colombia and Nicaragua, Costa Rica, all over Indonesia. We go through a co-op. It's just cheaper to import it that way, and we have it roasted just north of town and packaged for people with people who already had the machine, so I didn't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it myself. So that's helpful. But what's fun about it for me is, I get to take something that I already love, sell it to the community, but then I get to put that back into the community. So what grew out of the necessity to keep my nonprofit going, it expanded and it became an opportunity to support the broader community. And so today, it's not just supporting putting AEDs in school and teaching CPR to the community, but it's also sponsoring the Kent Theater, this show, and the CSJBL, the local ball league, and another ball league over in Sparta. So it's become something that it's become a tool that I can use to support the broader community.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we got another guest. Actually, I'm gonna skip something real quick. So
Yeah, and how do you have me following those two? Like, they have talent. I'm just up here meeting my fan, and then for a play I didn't write, and then just talking about coffee.
well, yeah, well, we're gonna talk about a movie.
I thought about going and trying to play the piano.
You can can play it the way I do. Wait until nobody's looking and you hit the down button and you slide it so it just
Oh, there you
looks
go.
like you're playing it. But
I like it.
I'm playing. It's kind of like I play the radio.
Well, I figured if they didn't get musical enjoyment, it'd be comedy just to watch me try. So
Hey man, everybody needs a good laugh. Look at
Oh,
so
yes,
much
sir.
stress about there.
there it is. There's a lot. Yeah.
Just because somebody didn't understand how you said two. Is that T-O-O, T-O, or T-W-O? Explain that, please.
You have to read it in the Bugle.
Yeah. So, what's one of your favorite movies?
Oh, it's Back to the Future.
So, we got that coming up here.
We're gonna watch it.
No, we're actually gonna, if I can get it right. So we have the Back to the Future marathon coming up. Look at that right up there. Look at who sponsored that.
All right, look at that.
So it'll be the kickoff of our summer movie program. We the last 3 or 4 years we've done 3 movies on Tuesday. And it used to be easier to get sponsored, but after 2020, pocketbooks are a little tighter. And so when we get a movie license, typically it's for a week. And so we started. It's like, well, we get the movie license for the weekend. Why don't we just use that one on Tuesday too?
Yeah.
And so you offered to sponsor it last year, and we was gonna do the marathon last year, but then Universal said, no, you can't have it. You can't have it until October.
And it was gonna be the year to do it.
Yeah. And so this year they're letting us have it. And so we're sponsoring the first week.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put number 2 and number 3 back to back with it. We was originally gonna spread them out a little bit, but the movie industry is a lot different than it was a couple years ago. We've had, before we settled on doing all 3 of them in June, we went through by about 17 movies that we tried to get. We tried getting some of the newer ones, it's like, well, yeah, we said it's coming out in May, but it's not coming out until December, so you can't get it yet. We had one of them, that one of the companies that was supposed to have the rights, they told us what the price was, locked it in. 2 weeks later, oh, sorry, we don't have the rights, you have to go through somebody else. So I'm like, okay, we'll just do these 3 back to back, and we haven't done a whole month marathon of just 3 movies. Other than December when we get sponsors for the Christmas show, so this is Christmas in June, which is 6 months to Christmas, not July, it's only 5.
Right.
So-
It's something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I'll be here for all of them.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what's the dates for the first one coming out?
You got that on your memo over there?
I do think I do.
Here.
No, thank you.
I'll give you a hint, Archie.
Okay,
It's not the first weekend,
what's not?
because the last weekend of May and the first weekend of June is played by Cedar Springs Community Players.
That's right,
So they've taken up the stage and the seats for the first 2 weeks.
so that
The
leaves
last and first.
June 12th, 13th, and 14th, and 16th.
All right.
Which is a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday, all right. So Saturday through Tuesday.
Yeah, what's the second week?
You have that on here?
Yeah. No,
No, it's not on.
I lied.
Archie, this is your chance for payback. You threw you under the bus earlier.
You have a blank paper.
So it's the week after that, and then the next one's the week after that,
Okay,
and then it's 4th of July.
then it's 4th of July. All right, so we're looking at mid-June to the end of June. We're back to the future.
Yep.
Don't miss it.
All right.
All right, so, if you wanna hang tight, we got another guest coming up, we'll, bring up Adam Kenyon. Have you met him before?
I have not.
So he's been, part of some of the town shows that Glenn's done on here for the year, he's normally at Red Planet.
Yeah.
And he's been him and his kids have been part of our Christmas program the last few years.
Awesome.
And so, Adam, if you wanna come up?